Famous, very well established, classified growth, third growth here, second growth here, so very super interesting wines that we have to taste today. So first off, I will be starting with Château Langoa Barton with vintage 2009. So 2009, very reputable, warm, generous vintage that is generally very well beloved out there because it's generous, it's open, it's ready to drink at a relatively young age, but it still has a lot of potential, and it's open, it's fruity, it's generous, it's ripe, it's gorgeous. So see how Langoa Barton did on that vintage. Yeah, it is generous. There's a lot of black cherry, it's quite spicy as well. It's a little bit ashy, there's some vanilla, dark cocoa. It's quite spicy, and black pepper, it's lifted as well. So rather classic style. It's a little bit introvert. 2009 is young for a Bordeaux wine, for Saint-Julien. Those wines are meant to be aged 10, 15, perhaps 20 years, especially for a Grand Cru Classé in a great vintage like this one. Wow, so here we have a wine that has really two different facets. There's a big, generous, warming element of fruit, the blackberry that I was talking about before, blackberry jam and dark cherry and a bit of raspberry, so that the big burst of juicy, salivating blackberry, red berry flavors to the profile. This is dry, very strong acidity, mineral and salty acidity. This is going to be obviously a food-friendly wine. It's a little bit introvert, and this whole fruitiness is surrounded by the savory, ashy, dark coffee, roasted, French roast coffee, dark cocoa. So it is quite powerful and pungent and generous and alcoholic. I mean, you can feel that this was a warm vintage, but there's also the typical savoriness of Médoc, the ashy savoriness from the Cabernet that is aged in barrels and in new barrels. So this is a very complex, generous and rounded wine. This is still a young wine. You can keep this for 15 or 20 years easily. It will keep getting better and better, developing notes of leather, notes of truffle, adding depth to the tasting experience. A fantastic wine. All the classic style of Bordeaux is in there. Wow, to me this is a 91 plus out of 100 points, because it's definitely in the world class. It's long, it's balanced, it's dry, it's food friendly. You can pair this with super elegant foods, but also kind of enjoy it rather simply if you can afford it. This is a wine that retails around $80. I mean, depending on the vintage, Langoa Barton will vary between $60 and $100, depending on the vintage and how long it's been aged for. So around $80. It's an excellent age-worthy wine for $80, but you can also enjoy it now and very soon.